There's something special about the way mornings feel. The quiet before the world fully wakes up, the fresh air, the sense that you have a brand new chance to begin again. It's a time full of potential. But here's the surprising truth. The way you use your mornings doesn't just decide how productive you'll be, it can also decide how sharp and intelligent you become over time. That's right. Science shows that your morning habits can actually make you smarter. Now, when we talk about being smarter, most people imagine something dramatic, like suddenly gaining a higher IQ or instantly solving complex problems. But intelligence in daily life isn't just about numbers on a test. It's about how clearly you can think, how quickly you can recall information, how creative your solutions are, and how well you adapt to new situations. In this sense, becoming smarter is something we can all do, no matter our age, by shaping the small habits that influence how our brains work. And mornings are the perfect time to start. Think of your brain like a smartphone. Overnight while you sleep, it charges, updates its software, and clears away unnecessary files. When you wake up, you're at 100% battery, ready to use. But just like with a phone, if you immediately open too many apps, drain the battery, or fill the storage with clutter, it won't run smoothly. The same thing happens to the brain. Your first choices in the morning either strengthen that fresh energy or waste it. That's why experts in neuroscience and psychology often emphasize the power of morning routines. Your brain is highly plastic. It's always rewiring itself based on what you do and repeat. This quality, called neuroplasticity, is what allows you to learn new skills, adapt to challenges, and recover from mistakes. Each morning, you essentially give instructions to your brain. Here's the kind of day we are going to have. If those instructions involve focus, curiosity, and calmness, your brain wires itself towards sharper thinking. If the instructions involve stress, distraction, and rushing, the brain wires itself toward fogginess and fatigue. Let's put this into a real-life example. Imagine two different mornings. In the first version, you wake up, grab your phone, and scroll through news headlines or social media. Within minutes, your brain is flooded with notifications, comparisons, and stressful information. By the time you get out of bed, you already feel behind, tense, and unfocused. In the second version, you wake up, take a deep breath, drink a glass of water, and spend a few quiet minutes stretching, reading, or simply planning your day. Which version do you think leads to sharper thinking, better memory, and calmer focus? Over weeks, months, and years, the answer is obvious. And here's the good news. You don't need extreme routines to see results. Many people hear morning habits and think they need to wake up at 4 a.m., meditate for hours, or do military-style workouts. But the truth is much simpler. Even a single positive habit in the morning, practiced consistently, can make a measurable difference to your brain power. It could be as small as reading a page of a book, writing down 3 thoughts in a journal, or going for a short walk outside. The key is not how big the habit is, but how regularly you do it. Why is this important for all ages, especially seniors? Because keeping the brain sharp protects independence and quality of life. A sharper brain means remembering where you put your keys, recalling the name of a neighbor, or being able to learn how to use a new phone app. For younger adults, it means better performance at school, quicker problem solving at work, and more confidence in conversations. Everyone, regardless of age, benefits from having a mind that feels alert instead of sluggish. Think of it this way. Mornings are like planting seeds in a garden. If you plant healthy seeds, water them, and give them light, you'll see growth. If you ignore the garden, weeds will eventually take over. Every morning, you plant mental seeds, either for clarity or for confusion. The smarter choice is obvious, but it requires awareness. So why does this really matter? Because intelligence isn't fixed. For decades, people used to believe that the brain reached its peak in youth and slowly declined with age. But research now shows the opposite. The brain can keep growing, making new connections, and improving in sharpness well into old age, as long as you give it the right stimulation. That stimulation often begins with small, intentional actions in the morning. And that brings us to the first powerful morning habit that science shows can boost your brain power. It's practical, easy to start, and proven to make your mind sharper, your mood better, and your energy more stable throughout the day. Once you add this habit to your mornings, you'll quickly notice how much more alive and intelligent you feel, not just for a few hours, but across your entire life. The first morning habit that truly makes you smarter is movement. Yes, something as simple as moving your body shortly after waking up can transform how your brain works for the rest of the day. And before you imagine long gym sessions or intense training, let me assure you, this isn't about punishing workouts. Even light exercise such as stretching, a short walk, or gentle yoga can be enough to trigger powerful changes in your brain. Why does this work? It all comes down to blood flow and chemistry. When you move your body, circulation improves. Your heart pumps more oxygen-rich blood to the brain, and that extra supply fuels your neurons, the brain's working cells. Think of neurons like tiny light bulbs. Without oxygen and nutrients, they dim, but when you exercise, it's like switching on a brighter power source. You don't just wake up your muscles, you wake up your mind. But the benefits go deeper than just feeling awake. Scientists have discovered a protein called BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. You can think of BDNF as a kind of fertilizer for your brain. It helps brain cells grow, strengthens the connections between them, and even protects against age-related decline. And here's the exciting part. Physical activity is one of the most powerful natural triggers for increasing BDNF. That means every time you move in the morning, you're feeding your brain with the nutrients it needs to stay sharp and flexible. Imagine starting your day with a 10-minute stretch session or a brisk walk outside. Not only does it lift your mood, but it also activates areas of the brain responsible for memory, focus, and learning. Studies show that just 20 minutes of light to moderate activity can improve processing speed, attention span, and recall. It's like giving your brain a head start before the challenges of the day even begin. For seniors, this morning habit is even more powerful. As we age, the hippocampus, the part of the brain responsible for memory, naturally shrinks. This is one reason older adults may struggle with recall or find it harder to learn new things. But research shows that consistent physical activity can actually increase the size of the hippocampus. Yes, you heard that right. Exercise can help grow your memory center, protecting you from decline. Morning movement becomes not just a feel-good activity but a shield against forgetfulness and even dementia. The beauty of this habit is how adaptable it is. If you love being outdoors, you can walk around your neighborhood or in a park while enjoying the morning air. If you prefer staying inside, you can stretch or do simple bodyweight exercises in your living room. If mobility is a concern, chair yoga or light resistance movements with small weights can still deliver benefits. The important thing is not how intense it is, but how consistent it becomes. Here's a simple example to picture. Imagine two people of the same age, say 60 years old. One starts every morning with 15 minutes of stretching, breathing deeply, and moving their body. The other spends the same 15 minutes sitting on the couch scrolling through the phone. Over time, the first person not only maintains better flexibility and strength but also sharper memory, steadier moods, and greater independence. The second person, meanwhile, gradually feels more sluggish, forgetful, and easily stressed. The difference isn't fate, it's choice. Another benefit of morning movement is emotional stability. Exercise releases endorphins, the brain's natural feel-good chemicals. These lift your mood, reduce stress hormones like cortisol, and create a sense of calm focus. Think of it as clearing mental fog before it builds up. When your day starts with less stress, your brain is free to focus on creativity, learning, and decision-making. Of course, there will be days when motivation feels low. Maybe it's raining, or maybe you didn't sleep well. On those days, remember this truth. Something is always better than nothing. Even a 5-minute stretch while you make coffee can make a difference. The brain doesn't need perfection, it needs consistency. Just like brushing your teeth every day protects your oral health, moving your body every morning protects your mental sharpness. In many cultures, morning movement has been a respected tradition for centuries. In Japan, for example, community exercise sessions called radio taizo are broadcast daily. Groups of people, young and old, gather in parks to stretch and move together. This practice not only improves physical health but also supports memory, social bonds, and overall happiness. It's a reminder that the smartest societies don't just focus on books or technology, they also prioritize the health of the body as a foundation for the mind. If you want to try this for yourself, start simple. Tomorrow morning, instead of immediately reaching for your phone, take a few minutes to move. Walk around the room, roll your shoulders, stretch your legs, or if you feel ready, step outside for fresh air. Pair the movement with deep breathing, and notice how awake your brain feels afterward. Over time, you'll discover that tasks like reading, remembering details, or solving problems come more easily. This is the first and perhaps the most essential morning habit that makes you smarter. Movement primes your brain, sets your mood, and gives you clarity. But as powerful as it is, it's only the beginning. The brain doesn't just thrive on activity, it also thrives on the fuel you give it. That leads us to the second morning habit, the kind of nourishment that strengthens focus, memory, and long-term brain health. If movement is the spark that wakes up your brain, then the second morning habit that makes you smarter is nourishment, feeding your brain with the right fuel. Just like a car won't run smoothly on dirty or low-quality fuel, your brain can't operate at its best if you start the day with nothing or load it with the wrong foods. What you choose to eat in the morning has a direct impact on memory, focus, mood, and energy levels throughout the day. Let's start with a simple truth. Your brain is hungry. Even though it makes up only about 2% of your body weight, it consumes around 20% of your energy. After a night of fasting while you sleep, your brain is ready for refueling. If you skip breakfast entirely, or grab something loaded with sugar and processed carbs, your brain gets an energy spike followed by a crash. That's when you feel foggy, irritable, or unable to concentrate. But if you give your brain balanced nourishment, it functions at a higher level, clearer, faster, and more creative. So, what kind of nourishment makes you smarter? Scientists point to foods rich in healthy fats, proteins, antioxidants, and vitamins. These aren't just empty calories, they're building blocks for your neurons. For example, omega-3 fatty acids, found in foods like nuts, seeds, and fatty fish, strengthen the structure of brain cells and improve communication between them. Protein sources like eggs or yogurt provide amino acids that help produce neurotransmitters, the brain's chemical messengers. Antioxidants from fruits and vegetables protect brain tissue from damage, while vitamins like B12 and folate support memory and focus. Take blueberries, often called brain berries. They're rich in compounds that boost blood flow to the brain and improve communication between neurons. Studies have shown that people who eat blueberries regularly perform better on memory tests. Or consider walnuts. Just a handful in the morning has been linked to better cognitive performance. And eggs. Their yolks contain choline, a nutrient crucial for producing acetylcholine, a neurotransmitter essential for learning and memory. Now compare this with a typical sugary breakfast, say, donuts and soda. Sure, you might feel a quick burst of energy, but within an hour, your blood sugar crashes. The result? You feel tired, unfocused, and even more hungry. That pattern repeated over weeks and months doesn't just reduce productivity, it also increases the risk of long-term brain decline. Choosing smarter fuel isn't just about today, it's about protecting your brain for decades to come. Here's an inspiring example. In Mediterranean countries, breakfast often includes foods like whole grains, olives, cheese, nuts, and fruit. This style of eating has been linked to lower rates of dementia and sharper thinking in old age. The reason is simple. These foods provide steady energy, healthy fats, and protective compounds that keep the brain young. Seniors in these regions don't just live longer, they also maintain active, intelligent lives well into their 80s and 90s. Of course, everyone's body is different, and what works for one person might need adjustment for another. Some people feel best with a light breakfast of fruit and tea, while others prefer something more filling like eggs and whole grain toast. The important thing is balance, combining protein, healthy fats, and fiber so your brain has stable energy to draw from. Now, here's where the morning habit becomes more than just eating breakfast. It's about being mindful. Instead of eating while rushing out the door or staring at your phone, slow down and notice your food. Chew it well, appreciate the taste, and take a moment to breathe. This mindful eating not only improves digestion but also trains your brain to be present and focused. You start your day not just fed, but grounded. For seniors especially, this habit is critical. As the body ages, nutrient absorption can decline, making deficiencies more likely. A thoughtful breakfast rich in vitamins and minerals can fill those gaps. For example, vitamin D deficiency, common in older adults, is linked to memory problems. Adding foods like fortified yogurt or simply pairing breakfast with a few minutes of morning sunlight can make a big difference. And don't forget hydration. After 7 to 8 hours of sleep, the body is naturally dehydrated. The brain is about 75% water, and even mild dehydration can cause fatigue and difficulty concentrating. Starting the day with a glass of water, before coffee or tea, restores balance and supports clearer thinking. Many people are surprised at how much sharper they feel simply by hydrating first thing in the morning. So, here's a simple plan you can try tomorrow. Begin with a glass of water, then choose a breakfast that combines protein, healthy fats, and colorful fruits or vegetables. It could be as simple as scrambled eggs with spinach and tomatoes, or oatmeal topped with walnuts and blueberries. If you prefer something quick, a smoothie with yogurt, banana, and chia seeds works wonders. What matters is not complexity, but consistency. This second morning habit, nourishing the brain, creates a foundation for sharper thinking, steadier energy, and long-term health. Combined with the first habit of movement, you now have two powerful tools to transform your mornings into a source of intelligence and vitality. But there's one more piece of the puzzle: the way you direct your mind. Because while the body fuels the brain, your thoughts and focus shape how that fuel is used. The third morning habit that makes you smarter isn't about movement or food, it's about mental focus. How you direct your thoughts in the first hour of the day shapes the way your brain processes information, solves problems, and stays resilient. If movement is the spark and nourishment is the fuel, then focus is the steering wheel. Without it, even the best energy and nutrition can be wasted. One of the most powerful ways to practice morning focus is through mindful reflection. This doesn't have to mean sitting cross-legged in silence for hours. It can be as simple as journaling for 5 minutes, practicing gratitude, or setting an intention for the day. These small actions strengthen the brain's prefrontal cortex, the area responsible for decision-making, concentration, and self-control. By starting with clarity, you give your mind a compass that guides you through distractions and challenges. Let's look at why this matters. Imagine starting your day without any focus. You roll out of bed, glance at your phone, and let the flood of messages, headlines, and worries dictate your mood. Before you've even had breakfast, you feel overwhelmed. Compare that to a morning where you spend just a few quiet minutes thinking about what matters most today. Instead of being pulled in every direction, you feel anchored. That anchor translates into sharper choices, steadier emotions, and more creativity throughout the day. Science backs this up. Studies show that mindfulness practices, whether breathing exercises, journaling, or quiet reflection, actually change the structure of the brain. They thicken the prefrontal cortex and strengthen neural pathways related to attention. In plain language, this means you literally train your brain to stay sharp, just like you train a muscle at the gym. A practical example is gratitude journaling. Writing down 3 things you're thankful for each morning doesn't just boost mood, it also rewires the brain to focus on positives rather than negatives. Over time, this reduces stress hormones and makes learning easier. Seniors who practice gratitude often report feeling less anxious and more mentally active, while younger adults say it improves productivity and relationships. Such a small act, yet such a profound effect. Another simple tool is goal setting. By writing down your top priority for the day, you teach your brain to filter out noise and concentrate on what truly matters. Think of it like giving your brain a daily mission. Without a mission, your mind wastes energy on distractions. With a mission, your intelligence is channeled into something meaningful. And then there's reading. Spending even 10 minutes with a book, article, or thought-provoking essay in the morning can expand vocabulary, improve comprehension, and spark creativity. Unlike scrolling on a phone, reading activates deep thinking circuits, building mental muscles that social media never touches. Over time, those small chunks of reading add up to a smarter, more insightful mind. For seniors especially, these mental habits are powerful shields against cognitive decline. Reflection, gratitude, and reading keep the mind active, flexible, and engaged. They also bring emotional benefits: less stress, more joy, and a stronger sense of purpose. And purpose, researchers say, is one of the most protective factors for brain health in later life. Here's a story that illustrates the point. A retired teacher in her 70s begins each day with a routine: a short walk, a glass of water with lemon, and 10 minutes of journaling. She writes about what she's grateful for, what she hopes to accomplish, and something she learned the day before. Despite her age, her friends often remark on how sharp, cheerful, and quick-witted she is. Her secret isn't a magic pill. It's a set of consistent morning habits that keep her brain vibrant. The beauty of this third habit is that it doesn't require equipment, money, or much time. You only need intention. Whether you spend those minutes writing, reflecting, praying, or reading, what matters is the choice to direct your brain instead of letting the world direct it for you. Now, let's bring all 3 habits together. Movement energizes your brain, nourishment fuels it, and focus directs it. Together, they create a morning routine that doesn't just make you feel good for a few hours but makes you smarter across weeks, months, and years. They protect memory, sharpen decision-making, boost creativity, and strengthen resilience against stress. For seniors, these habits are a lifeline, offering hope, independence, and dignity. For younger people, they are a foundation, building a sharper, stronger mind to face life's challenges. And for everyone, they are proof that intelligence isn't fixed. We can grow it, nurture it, and protect it every single morning. So here's the inspiring conclusion. Every morning, you hold the keys to your brain's future. You don't need to change your entire life overnight. Just start with one habit. Move your body, nourish your brain, or set your focus. Practice it tomorrow, then the next day, and let it become part of who you are. Over time, you'll notice the difference. Clearer thoughts, better memory, brighter moods, and a sense of confidence that only grows stronger. The smartest version of yourself isn't hidden in the future. It's built each morning, one small habit at a time.